I'm Krupa Kanaiya, and I'm your host.
Hey, my name is Antonio, and I go by Arm of Casso, and today we're talking about sharpism. And this is Behind the Art.
Let's just kind of start with your introduction.
Okay, all right.
Tell us who you are.
All right, cool. My name is, my government name is Antonio McElwain, and my artist name is Arm of Casso.
Okay.
And I'm a native from Philadelphia. I lived in Miami for 2 years, and I have been here in Atlanta for 4 years now. And I've been doing art since a young kid, since kindergarten really. And it's weird how I started doing art is because I tried to get into this school, and I failed the test. It was a test that I was supposed to take to get into the school, and I failed it, and it was a drawing test. So after that, I kept drawing and trying to, sharpen my craft from looking at comic books, cartoons, and the second time I went back to the school to do the test, that time I passed it. So from there, I was like, you know what, I'm really good at this. I'm gonna keep on doing art. And this is what you have right now. Me creating.
Okay. I gotta ask, do you prefer I use your government name or your artist name?
My artist name.
All right. Arm of Casso it is.
Yes.
How does it feel to introduce yourself under an artist name versus your government name? Do you feel like a different person?
Yeah, I mean, it feels like, sometimes it feels like two different people, because Antonio, I just like to chill out. Probably don't like to really create too much all the time. But Arm of Casso is turned up to create all the time, And, it's a name now that I, just absorb and I have to embody now. And a lot of people know me by that name. And before, people used to call me Tone Casso because, Antonio. And now I went to Arm of Casso because that's like my initials, or ARM of my name. And Casso, of course, like Pablo Picasso. And that's why we get Arm of Casso now.
I like that. I didn't realize that. I didn't make the correlation between the Picasso and Casso.
Yeah.
That's nice. That's a very smooth touch. I see.
Thank you.
Of course. Okay, so we're here so we can talk about Atlanta, about all your art.
Yes.
You've been in Atlanta for a hot minute, and now you're on the show, or your work is on the show.
Yeah.
How do you feel about it?
Man, first of all, I didn't know, talking to the art director there, I didn't know that my interior mural piece would be the last image on the last season of the show. I didn't know which episode it would actually be on in the beginning, but then he was like, it's going to be on the last episode. I'm like, wow, that's like the last hurrah. And I'm like, that's amazing. And I'm still wild by it, and definitely on cloud nine that it actually made it to that scene with all the main characters in one place, and they all in front of my art. So it's definitely an amazing feeling.
Did you get to see the episode before it aired, or did you not know what it was going to look like?
I didn't know what it was going to look like. I knew how the set was going to look. I knew the reason for the set looking the way it does. And I didn't see anything beforehand, the actors or anything. But I knew how the set looked because I seen everybody moving in all the props, and they said it was going to be a black Japanese style restaurant. They told me that the building was supposed to be like an old Blockbuster, so it was just funny that I was like, oh, it's an old Blockbuster, but you kind of can see the panels, and if you ever been into a Blockbusters, you see how the walls would look, and how they would have the DVDs, and well, I don't know, it was probably VHS during that time.
Oh my god,
it's like a library of VHS.
I feel like the last time I was in a Blockbuster, I remember the stands everywhere, and it had a smell. Blockbuster had a very specific aroma where you walk in and it smells like a VHS tape.
I kind of remember that now. Yeah. And then with that and the popcorn they would have, you'd be so happy to purchase.
It's like so stale too, where you like come in and they're like, here you go. That's so interesting though, because I feel like if someone told me I was creating for what was gonna be a blockbuster, I'd be like, cool. I know what my art should smell like.
It's like, yeah, I know that place.
Yeah.
There used to be some exciting times, man. You know, but it was crazy. Like, you know, it's just like just being a part of it, and you know, with these type of things, with with TV shows, it's like a extreme time crunch. So it was just like they contacted me and it was like, yeah, would you be able to get it done like in 3 days? And I was like, yeah, I mean, it's for the show, so yeah, you know, this is a great opportunity. I can get it done. So, you know, I was working, you know, from the morning to nighttime, you know, on that wall. So up and down the ladder and stuff, just going away at the backdrop or at the interior wall of the restaurant.
That's a lot of work. Also 3 days. So they reach out to you, whether it's like email, Instagram, whatever.
Yeah.
What was that like, opening that message and being like, did it feel real?
Yeah, I mean, it felt. It did, like sometimes I'm like, you know, it's just me. You know, I'm in my own body. You know, but it's just a weird feeling. Like, you know, I'm definitely thankful that it took a while to even get to like this point, and for people to actually, like art directors, producers, to actually start loving your work, to have it put onto a backdrop on a TV show is just like a very amazing feeling. And I was shocked, because as soon as I seen that it said FX, I'm like, FX? And then I seen the show that is for the Atlanta season. I mean, for the Atlanta show for season 4. And I was like, wow, okay, this is insane. So it really got me like super pumped. I was like, okay, I have to do an amazing job.
That's a lot of pressure. Do you put pressure on yourself like that often?
Yeah, I do. All the time. Like I try to do everything at 1,000% when it comes to, you know, my craft and stuff. And I try to do things as quick as possible. You know, that's why a lot of people in the industry now like contact me, because they know my turnaround rate is like quick. But I want to make sure it still keeps the detail of the work at the same time, and you know, also knocking out the project too in the right time.
Okay. I want to know more about like the process of like from when you got the project to like conceptualizing, getting the colors and everything together. What was that like?
Yeah, so what's crazy is like I do work with the art directors and producers of the shows and stuff. And with this show, I worked with an art director, and he actually sent me like the layout of how the place looked, you know, through email. And then he said, okay, this is the backdrop of the wall. It's gonna be like an orange type color. And he was like, you know, I would like for you, because I usually use a lot of black and white with a lot of my pieces, but he's like, you know, they don't want to look too stark, so they wanted me to use gray for the scene. So the scene you'd be able to see the design, but it won't be so, you know, taking off the focus of the characters. So it would be like in the background more, so the characters can like pop out. So that was the way, you know, he was thinking, and he contacted me to, you know, bring the vision forward. So that's how that process was, and I didn't understand why the color was like a burnt orange, but then they kept talking about, you know, in that show, Popeyes. So
like
the colors are kind of, to me, the colors are kind of similar. The orange burnt color, and then the restaurant. I was like, maybe that's what they were trying to connect though. So
the Popeyes chicken and then the color of the scene.
Yeah, so it was just like, okay, maybe the color, the words, the font, and I was like, maybe that's what they are trying to connect. So yeah, but that's how you know, that's how it worked. And I was like, you know what, I'll be able to get it done and stuff. And you know, in my mind, I always say I can get it done, but then, you know, once you get there, it's like, okay, like halfway in, you're like, my back kind of hurt a little bit. I gotta get a rest. But my mind is so like, you know, at the finish line. But then you have to realize, like, okay, your body is not going to be able to move with your mind. Your mind is there, but your body still needs like rest, and you can't work yourself too crazy though.
But you did 3 days.
Yeah,
That's kind of crazy.
Yeah. It was actually, then what's so crazy about this is that I got it done in 2, even though they said 3. Just to
flex a little bit, like.
just.
I do want to like go back at least a little bit though, for like our frame of reference and conversation. Just kind of, I want to ask a little more specific about like how is this different than like a usual like project for you? Because 2 days is so fast.
Yeah.
Like I commend you for doing it, but I honestly think about like other muralists here in Atlanta, like they do great work, but I've seen muralists take weeks, even months sometimes, depending on the weather of like an exterior space to finish work.
Yeah.
Which I mean, this is not exterior, but
yeah. It's like because the design I already have it in my head already, so I have done the design like thousands of times already. So that's why it might make it a tad bit more easier for me to finish a project in 2 days, especially like an interior design in 2 days.
Do you have to send them like a concept image or anything before you go, or did they give you free reign to like come in onto set and just go at it?
Yeah, they really just gave me free reign, like, cause they already see my work already. They love my work, so they was like, yeah, we just want your style on the wall in the restaurant.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and that was a great feeling too, because like for years, for years people would tell me like what to do, like I don't want this or don't want that, but now it's like I want this. Whatever you do, whatever you're doing, that's what we want for our set. This is what we want for the painting. This is what we want for anything. So, but it was definitely an amazing feeling for them to just let me just do what I do.
In terms of like, I wouldn't even know what to do with that kind of freedom, honestly. I feel like that would like almost be like decapitating for me, just because of who I am as a person. I really commend you for being able to do that, because I'm like, that's amazing. One, to just let your expression just kind of flow in that way.
Yeah.
Especially on a show like Atlanta, like, not everyone's watching this, everyone's gonna see it, and you're like, yeah, I just kind of did that.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Just casually, like, I just, they liked my stuff, I did it. Like, that's incredible.
Yeah. It's definitely an amazing feeling. Even like watching it, it's just like that's my work. Like,
yeah. Has your work been on any other shows?
Yeah, I had a couple pieces on a show on Netflix. It's called Senior Year, and that was actually like one of my first like television shows to be a part of. And they're like smaller pieces, and you kind of can see a little bit, but it's like you see a fragment of it, or it'll be blurry in the background. But I knew it was my work though. But that was like one of my first ones, and I have something. I have a piece that will be in Creed. Let me get this right. Creed 2 or Creed 3? Yeah, shit. I think it's 2. I believe it's 2, but yeah, I have a piece in there, and then there's a couple other, TV shows and commercials I have working, but save that for later.
So
yeah.
Part 2.
We'll
come back for
yeah.
Arm of Casso, the sequel. I like that.
Coming back.
Ooh, that does have a nice ring to it. Just like casually, I'm really curious though, in terms, because you have been on set and stuff, does this set feel different when you like first walk in? Is it empty? Or is staff and crew there watching you for like BTS purposes, or do you come in like solo set up and dip out by yourself?
Yeah, well, I came in solo, but there's a staff that's there, because it was people like looking around, and I had the producer, I believe, came in there one time, and they left back out because they wanted to see what was going on, and the art director, he was there, and he was watching me as I was working. So it felt like it was cool, but it was just like, it felt like a little bit of pressure,
Yeah.
Because when doing something like that, I I created another interior wall mural at apartment 4B at a restaurant, here in Atlanta. And sometimes it's a weird feeling in that type of space to have like the owner or like in this instance the art director, like watching you as you're creating, because you don't know what they're going to say. Like they might say like, hey, what, the next line you might want to change it up and stuff. So it's always like it's a tad bit nerve-wracking when it comes to that. When I'm doing live art, no one says anything to me, just live art. But in those type of spaces, people can tell you what to change and stuff like that. But everything was cool though. The guys amazing. The art director's amazing. It was it was okay. Like he was there and he didn't really say too much. He was just like wowed by how much work I was able to finish in a short length of time. And pretty much some people would go on breaks and they would leave out, and sometimes I would just be there by myself. But thank God that I have like music, because it's very important to have music when you're doing something like this.
Yeah. And
they had security out there because they didn't want nobody from the streets just like coming in there, because no one knows what's happening there. Yeah. But it's just, if you seeing somebody in there just working on a wall and creating, like folks get kind of nosy a little bit and want to see what's happening. So they had security, come. And I actually asked, is it possible to have like extra security? Because I'm working, I don't know, because it's inside like a store, and my back is turned to the door while I'm working, and I can't see who's coming in. So I'm like, can you please get like extra security? So they brought like extra security out there and stuff. So this is like, it's definitely an amazing feeling, and I enjoyed it a lot.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I'm like starstruck a little bit by like your experience to be able to do that.
It's definitely wild. I wanted to see the actors.
Did you get to?
I didn't get to.
Oh,
I seen everything. I seen everything at the end put together, because I came in there at the end when everything was set up.
Yeah.
And someone from the company came in there and he was like, man, you sure you did this whole wall by yourself? Cause I brought my wife in there to see it too. And they were like, you sure you didn't get your wife to help you out? I'm like, nah, I did the wall, by myself. He said, this is a lot of work.
Yeah.
And the way I look at things is like that. If I do a great job with this, then someone else will want me to do another job after that. So I try to make sure I do like everything on 1,000 when it comes to these jobs, because you never know who's watching. So
it's true.
Yeah.
With this job and like having all these eyes and whatnot, like, let me put my brain together real quick. Because you had mentioned like having the security, and I wanted to ask just about like bringing in materials, and I was gonna ask you about your music, because you mentioned like you need to have a good playlist.
Oh yeah.
What's the playlist that helps you like finish the mural for Atlanta?
Yeah, it was crazy. I listened to a lot of Thundercat.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he's an amazing singer. Thundercat. I was listening to J. Cole a lot. The last album, and Kendrick. And it's just it's a lot of artists I listen to. I listen to like a lot of old school, like Donny Hathaway. It's a list of music. So I'm like all over the place when it comes to different type of music, but and the internet, and I hate that they about to not be making any more music again, but
I know it hurts, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's like when I sit there and someone's like, "Oh, what's the album you're looking forward to?" And I'm like, "Well, one day Frank Ocean's gonna send me that next one," and
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
But we can hope.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, Frank Ocean, man, when he comes out, he's like like Kendrick is like that too. He'll stop with his music for a while. He like disappeared and come out with something like super fire, and this is what's happening with Frank Ocean. I wish I could get an album from Andre 3000.
That'd be amazing.
I mean,
you should just reach out. Be like, let me do your next cover.
Yeah, that'll be amazing. I'll do it for free, so you can come out with an album.
I like that. We're gonna send this to him directly via Instagram and just
all
in his DMs.
Just to play the flute, while I do my work, that'd be great.
That'd be incredible. I think that's a cool collab. Be like, hey, come make your music, do whatever. I'm gonna paint while you work.
Yeah.
Just live stream the whole thing. Make it a Netflix special. Sponsor 2023.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah. You know what? I'm pitching it. That's my 2023 one.
We need an Andre 3000 album. I know you say you don't want to, do music, but
that's so hurtful.
It'd be great to have one. Man. I still listen to the Love Below. I'm like, So.
Is that one of your like essentials for every time you're creating to play?
Yeah, I mean he has some classic songs. Like Prototype. Like I play that a lot. Like it's just amazing music.
Yeah.
It's timeless. Like you can listen to that like 50, 60 years from now. Don't know what era it's in because it doesn't sound like anything during that time. So.
With the work that you're doing now, do you feel like you would be able to call it timeless, or do you think it's reflective of our environment now?
Well, I would say my work can be timeless because I try to connect my work to other things that I would see throughout history, like the hieroglyphics or the Aztec pyramid, because I'm so much into like the fine detail and design work. I feel like and textiles like will be like timeless. Like you can go to art gallery now and see like large walls of textile work, and people will still use those designs to now. So I feel like my style will be. You can still just use that as patterns on walls and everything. So it can be timeless.
Speaking of the patterns on walls, let's talk about your wallpaper.
Okay. Yes.
One, I think everyone, or not everyone, but there's this idea of like wallpaper being for like old people in old houses.
Yeah.
Where you walk in and it's like pink and flowers and it's just like whatever, but it's making a comeback and you're on that comeback too.
Yes. This is an amazing company I've been working with. They're called Wall Pops, and they create wallpapers like stick and peel wallpaper. So it makes it easy for the customer to put a wallpaper in their home. And I reached out to them like, wow, the project we've been working on the project for about a year now.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been a year. Yeah, and it's the first time I learned about a whole lot of things like with step and repeat, and would things look good together. And we worked on about 5 patterns, and everything came together. Great. It's a great cohesive and great collection. The people at Wall Pops, the people who worked on the project, they were able to send like different color palettes. Color palettes that I didn't even think of, like mustard yellow. Certain colors I don't usually work with, but they made it work and stuff. And I just made sure I just brought a good product, and design work, and as we have now, wallpaper, stick and peel.
I like that. It's very, was it like one of those like renter friendly things that people can have?
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
What made you want to do that?
I mean, cause I was thinking like, okay, I'm not gonna be able to get to everybody's home to do a interior wall mural. So I was like, what is a way that a lot of people can have my work in their apartment or their house? I was like, oh, wallpaper. So
yeah,
I was like, let me find if I can reach out, to a wallpaper company. And at the time, I had an intern, and they were able to put together a pitch deck for me because I'm not good with that type of stuff. So it's always good to have a team. You can't do everything by yourself. And they put together a good pitch deck, and we shopped it around to like different companies. And Wall Pop was one of them that replied to the pitch deck, and we was extremely excited.
What does it take for you to put together something like that? I know you said you have a team, but like in terms of materials that you prepare or like supplies you need to like create pieces to put in that.
Yeah.
What's the like cycle of that?
Yeah, well, in my mind, I'm able to come up with like the concept and the graphic designers and the people they bring forth the vision and stuff. So it was just me trying to think about like different rooms with different types of feels to it. So I looked up like how do colors like how like people look at colors and how it makes you feel. So each room had a different color. So like I had like a room that had my lines in blue. Blue was like a color that would make you feel like calm and stuff. And I had a room that had red in it, make you feel like you need to do something, So I was just had to play on colors in each room, and each room I designed. That's what had those type of colors in it. So when I shopped it to the company, they'll be able to okay, he doesn't just work in black and white. He has a whole, palette of different colors that we can do. So that was the idea, just able to give them a different, there's like different ways of putting my work into different spaces.
Does it make you uncomfortable to work in color?
Not really. But it's just for the longest time, a lot of people just like the black and white for a while.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I just don't do black and white line work. So let me switch to color. Because I love colors, actually. And I was like, yeah, let me switch to that. So people, because, and with art, some artists do get bored with things, So I try to put my design work in different colors and, in different, spaces on different materials. So yeah, it wasn't scary for me to, start doing colors.
I like that.
Yeah.
Get a whole like